Hello and welcome to Peggy's Plants, coming to you from Central Florida. Today I'd like to share with you some of my more common $20 or less houseplants that I've really enjoyed having in my collection. Now the first plant that I'm going to share with you is this aglioonema silver bay. I have been looking at this plant for a long time. I only have one other aglioonema. I saw this one in Lowe's on clearance. You may have seen that video. But it was normally $37. I was able to get it for half price, but they do sell aglionemas on a regular basis, this same particular one, for $20 or less in your big box stores. This one, as you can see, it was full of water, so it had some dead leaves, pulled those off, just water it every now and then, and look at this plant. It is absolutely beautiful. It's been very easy to care for. It's in a place where it gets bright, indirect light. And yeah, I just love it. I think this is an easy plant to grow. I would definitely recommend it to any beginner. But if you're on the fence about aglioonema, look on clearance or just go ahead and pick one up for $20 or less. Add it to your collection. I don't think you can go wrong. It's a very beautiful plant, I think. The next plant I'd like to share with you is this Philodendron golden goddess. I'm told that it's also known as, it's the same plant as the lemon lime upright. I don't know whether or not that's accurate, but that's what I'm being told, so it could be. But I purchased this about 2 years ago. This is what it looked like when I purchased it. I was very excited about it because I love plants with the light green leaves. They just really add some pop to your collection. And this is what this plant looks like today. It's still in the same pot that I purchased it in. It's just that pot is sitting in this large white pot. But this plant has just like really taken off. As you can see, it's called an upright, but it is trailing, I guess because I didn't put it on a post or anything. It's giving me a little variegation there. I love this plant. It really stands out and demands your attention because of the bright color, but it's been very easy to grow. I water this plant maybe once every 2 to 3 weeks, and she just sits here and grows and looks as beautiful as she can be. Very easy to grow and a pretty fast grower, I would say, as well. And that's the Philodendron golden goddess. A surprise favorite for me has been this Miranda. I purchased this probably about a year ago from Home Depot for $19.98. It was in a hanging basket. I upsized the basket. This plant has been so very easy to grow. I don't think there's ever been a time when it hasn't been unfurling a new leaf, but it is beautiful. It has grown effortlessly. I have it down on my floor, actually, under a table, under a glass table. It gets very indirect light, and it is a happy camper. No trouble with this plant at all, and I had heard that they were kind of fussy, so I had been avoiding them, but very easy. Love this plant. I talk about this Monstera deliciosa so much that I was hesitant to even put it in this video, but hey, it's always going to be one of my favorite plants. And yes, I got this for under $20, and it wasn't much smaller than it is now. I've only had it unfurl this one leaf since I got it. I've had it probably 6 months now, maybe a little longer. But if I had to recommend a beginner plant, a first plant for any new plant person, it would definitely be a Monstera deliciosa. These plants grow huge. They're easy to care for. They're very rewarding for me anyway, easy to propagate. And what's not to love about a plant that's going to give you all this fenestration and you can get for like $15? I added this Philodendron Brazil to my collection a couple of years ago, probably closer to 3 years ago. Wasn't real thrilled about it until I added it to a post and it started giving me these really, really big leaves and the nice variegation. I'm in love with this plant and I'm obsessed with this plant. And it's funny how you can have a plant all this time and it not really be, it's kind of, and then all of a sudden you're just in love with it. That is the story of this plant. I look at this plant on a daily basis. I purchased this from One of the big box stores in a hanging pot, definitely under $20. They're pretty readily available, although they're not always in the stores, but they're not hard to find, either online or in your big box stores. But look at the size of the leaves that this plant is now putting off. So yes, this is the Philodendron Brazil, and I absolutely love it. The leaves all give you just different kinds of variegation. And again, the size of the leaves now are just amazing to me compared to when I first got this plant. But a very beautiful plant, and I'm really loving this one. Very easy to care for, just as easy as any pothos to take care of. If you're into variegation and you want an affordable plant, consider the Philodendron Brazil. As I mentioned earlier, I do have a thing for a plant that is lime green. This is a lemon lime philodendron. For some reason, this plant just has always made me think dainty and elegant. I love the way the trails just kind of cascade. You know, it's a beautiful plant. It's a very easy to grow plant. Again, just as easy as any pothos. And this one too is putting off a little variegation. But I have had this one in this small pot for probably like a year now. It is in leca, and it needs to be repotted. But I don't want the plant to get too big. I just really love how small and dainty it is. It's growing on a back wall, getting filtered indirect light, and it's doing quite well. I started from a very small plant. Right next to it is another common favorite. This is a Hoya carnosa tricolor. I am not a big Hoya person. I do not know a lot about Hoyas. I have like maybe 4, but this one I know is a common plant. It was much smaller when I purchased it. I purchased it for like $10 at a plant shop, but absolutely beautiful plant. It puts off so much color. I have found it very easy to grow. I have to admit, these plants on this back wall in this back area, I sometimes forget when I'm watering. This plant has been very forgiving. It's been dry as a bone. Water it, it's like, it's okay, Peggy, we're good. In my eyes, no collection can be complete without owning at least one Sansevieria, a snake plant. This is a common snake plant that you should be able to find at any big box store for less than $20. I love that they add some height to my collection. They add some texture, and they're very easy to grow. Now, this is definitely a plant that you can put in lower light situations, but they do like light, so they grow better in a lighted area. This one has been doing quite well, easy to grow. Water it every now and then. I might water this plant like once a month, honestly, and it just does wonderfully. No problems at all. As you've heard me say, and other plant people as well, I'm sure, it's as easy to grow as a pothos. So of course, no collection could be complete without a pothos. This is a neon pothos, but there's such a large variety of pothos, and they're becoming more and more readily available. I would say that the variegated pothos are a little bit more fussy in terms of care and growing, but a neon pothos, a solid green pothos, grow with little or no effort. You can put them in lower light situations in bathrooms and things like that. They'll do just fine. I would highly recommend the pothos to any beginner. They're easy to propagate, and they grow really quickly. And my final favorite common plant for today is the Hoya pubicalis. I love this plant. I love so much about this plant. I love the splash on the leaves. I love the way it throws out crazy tendrils and then fills in with leaves. I love the thickness of the leaves and the waxiness. This is just a really hardy, nice plant. This plant had spider mites. It went through a lot when I was going through some issues and neglected my plants for a while. This plant took a very hard hit. You should probably be able to find a pubicalis anywhere that sells Hoyas for under $20. So that's about it. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care, stay well, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.